Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim
Saraswati
Saraswati
Vyasam.
Tato Jayam Udirayet
Tato
Udiraye.
Srinvatam Swakatah Krishna
Shanvatam
Svakata
Krishna
Krishna
Punyashravana Kirtana
Punya
Kirtana.
Hridyantasto Hiya Bhadrani
Hridyantasto hi abhadrani
Vidhunoti Suhritsatam
Vidhunoti
Vidhunoti
Suhൃതsatam
suhritsatam
Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam
Nityam
Bhagavate
Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttamastoke
Bhaktir Bhavati Nayishtiki
Bhakti
Bhaktir bhavati
Bhavati
naistiki
Naishtaki.
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishna
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki
Devaki Nandanaya
Nanda Gopakumaraya
Nanda
Nandagopa
Gopalaya
Kumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo
Okay. So we completed 13th chapter. We are now starting the 14th chapter. So if you recall 13th chapter, what was the main topic? Anybody want to say?
Dhritarashtra quit homes.
Dhritarashtra quit his home finally after having been inspired in the right path. At last he quit. And who inspired him?
Vidur.
Vidur, his younger brother. Yeah. And
he also went back to Godhead, right?
he didn't go back to Godhead. He got liberation. Yeah.
So he got liberation.
Yeah. What was the reason he didn't go back to Godhead? We discussed that. Anybody remembers?
Because he was not in the mood of bhakti. He was doing more of Ashtanga yoga process.
He performed Ashtanga yoga and purified his mind. Yes. So he's only achieved liberation from the influence of the modes of nature. So it's not pure bhakti can be bhakti is given. Of course, he had the opportunity and association of Vidura, who is a pure devotee. But yeah, that was the reason Vidura regretted it. In the last verse, he was happy and also sad. He was happy because finally Dhritarashtra took his instruction and left the kingdom and worked on the path of perfection. That was the reason he was happy. But sad because he didn't achieve the ultimate goal of life, which is which is to achieve the love of God. He didn't achieve that. So he had mixed feelings about his brother. So that chapter concluded, and who appeared?
So, Prabhu, one question there. When Dhritarashtra got liberated, he went to he's in the Brahman state, right? Which is the first stage after.
Yeah, he achieved Brahman realization.
Okay.
Yeah. So who entered and instructed Yudhishthira, who was crying after Narad Muni? Okay. And what was he was hinting in the last chapter? What was Narad Muni? he hinted about one specific thing, if you all remember.
He also instructed Yudhishthira that like his work is almost done here and it should be ready.
Perfect. Yeah. So he, Lord Krishna's appearance and his work and the purpose of his appearance is almost done. And he also told you should be ready after Lord leaves the world. You also, so he was worried about his uncle leaving, but Narada Muni said, it is time for you to leave the world now. Don't worry about your uncle. It is time for you to consider about leaving, the world. So that chapter ended. Now, it's the title of the chapter is Makes Devotees Sad, the disappearance of Lord Krishna. Actually, the disappearance of Krishna pastimes were described in 11th canto. This chapter gives the atmosphere that follows the disappearance of the Lord. It's not the actual pastime description of Lord's disappearance, but what are the omens that were seen when Lord disappears. So before this, about 7 months back, Yudhishthira Maharaj sends his brother Arjuna to see Lord Krishna and other relatives in Dwaraka and come back and inform him on how they are doing. It's 7 months. Arjuna hadn't returned. Actually, he will appear in this chapter in the middle of it, in 20th verse or so.
Prabhuji, one question. So you told this is again, I mean, this pastime is again narrated in Canto 11, but it is appearing here in 1.14. So why is that? Is there any specific significance for that?
No, actual pastime of Lord leaving the world is given there. How actually it happened in the actual pastime, how Musalam pastime and the whole thing happened and how the hunter. So that actual pastime happened are described in 11th chapter. So here it is just a contextual for the for the subject that Sukadeva Goswami was speaking. He just describes in brief the symptoms of disappearance of Lord. What happened? What are the symptoms that are seen in Yudhishthira's kingdom that informs about the disappearance of Lord? That's all. There is no significance except for the the point that Sukadeva Goswami is trying to make over these chapters, right? So this is all setting the context for the Bhagavatam actually. Still, actual stories will come later. Okay, we'll learn more as we describe. Let's describe the chapter now. Suta uvacha
Suta uvacha
samprastishte dvarakayam
Sampastite Dvarakaya
Vishnu bandhu didrikshaya
Jishno
Vishnu Bandhu Didrikshaya
Jnatum cha punya shlokasya
ज्ञातुं च
Punyalokasya
पुण्यश्लोकस्य
Krishnasya cha vichesitam
कृष्णस्य च विशेषितम्.
Please read.
Sri Suta Goswami said, Arjuna went to Dwarka to see Lord Sri Krishna and other friends and also to learn from the Lord of his next activities.
Vyatita kaschin masas tadanaya tatorjuna
तदानाय ततोऽर्जुन
dadarsha ghora rupani
घोररूपाणि
nimittani kurudvaha.
निमित्तानि कुरुद्वाहः.
A few months passed and Arjun did not return. Maharaj Yudhishthir then began to observe some inauspicious omens, which were fearful in themselves.
Yeah. So the omens that will be described here are actually already commonplace in Kali Yuga. We don't really get bewildered, but because Yudhishthira Maharaj, because of his the act, he's following the instructions of Bhishma and Kṛṣṇa, right? If you remember in the last chapter, 10th chapter, we discussed how he is, Bhimascha and Kṛṣṇasya. So his rulership was all based on the instructions of these two personalities. So there were all auspiciousness everywhere. But for the first time, he was seeing some inauspicious omens, which were never observed before. So he had some fear as to what would have happened. Because if Lord is present, all these, there cannot be any inauspiciousness. Yeah. So can you read this part, Prabhu?
Yes. Therefore, during the personal presence of the Lord on the earth, all paraphernalia for our peace and prosperity, especially religion and knowledge, were in full display because of the Lord's presence. Just as there is a full flood of light in the presence of the glowing sun, Maharaj Yudhishthira observed some discrepancies in his kingdom, and therefore he became very anxious about Arjun, who was long absent, and there was also no news about Dwarka's well-being.
You can also understand how Yudhishthira was very sensitive at a subtle level, right? Just by observing the nature around, he could figure out that there is some discrepancies going on. So
Arjun,
how sharp they are. Sorry?
Arjun was absent, Prabhu. That means
Arjuna was there. Arjuna went
Dwarka.
to Dwarka to know the well-being about Kṛṣṇa and other relatives.
Okay. Yes.
So he suspected disappearance of Lord Kṛṣṇa. And actually Lord already left as alluded by Narada Muni in the last chapter. Kalasya cha gatim raudram viparyastartu dharmina papiyasim nrinam vartam rodha lobhan ritan manam
He saw the direction of the eternal time had changed, and this was very fearful. There were disruptions in the seasonal regularities. The people in general had become very greedy, angry, and deceitful. And he saw that they were adapting foul means of livelihood.
You can see here, it's very fearful situation is there, and seasonal irregularities. In Kali Yuga, actually, there is, complete disarray in this regard. Right?
Climate change.
Yeah, climate, changes. For example, in Seattle, in the same day, you can see both heavy changes in the weather. Similarly, in other places. So even these are bad omens. That's what from this discussion you can understand. And people in general could have become greedy, angry, and deceitful. These are all symptoms of lack of God consciousness, right? Because why would anybody be greedy or angry or deceitful? I mean, to some degrees, there might be there, but in general, it means that people are not, God conscious. Because if you are fully satisfied in your heart, then there is no need for being greedy, right, or deceitful. Yeah, that's what Prabhupada explains here. Yeah. Please read.
So when civilization is disconnected from the loving relation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, symptoms like changes of seasonal regulations, foul means of livelihood, greed, anger, and fraudulence become rampant. During the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, all of the above symptoms were conspicuous by their absence. But Maharaj Yudhishthira was astonished to experience even a slight change in the godly atmosphere of his kingdom, and at once he suspected the disappearance of the Lord. Foul means of livelihood implies deviation from one's occupational duty.
Yeah.
A man becomes too greedy for wealth and power when he has no higher objective in life, and when he thinks that this earthly life of few years is all in all. Ignorance is the cause of all these anomalies in human society, and to remove this ignorance, especially in this age of degradation, the powerful sun is there to distribute the light in the shape of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Bhagavatam. If one takes shelter of Bhagavatam, all these inauspicious qualities will not exist in one's life. Because Bhagavatam clearly establishes the goal of life. Once we have a higher objective, all these other things will be only to serve that higher goal. But if that is not there, then so many goals, so many desires will take over one's mind, and he's always running after various desires. But once very clearly life's goal is established as to achieve Kṛṣṇa or to serve devotees, then all these other things, there is no time for other things, basically. Jihma prayam vyavahritam satyamishram cha sauhridam
Chatyamishram cha Shauhridam
Pitrimatr suhrid bhartar
Pitamatra Suhridbhartar
Dampatinam cha kalkanam
Dampatinam cha Kalkanam.
All ordinary transactions and dealings became polluted with cheating even between friends. And in familial affairs, there was always misunderstanding between fathers, mothers, and sons, between well-wishers and between brothers. Even between husband and wife, there was always strain and quarrel.
Typical Kali Yuga features, all these, right? Within the same family, we see, brothers fighting, misunderstanding between various family members. We all had seen before coming to Krishna consciousness, between brothers, well-wishers. Everybody is selfish, basically. And everybody, there is no God consciousness, people become self-conscious. And all these are natural byproducts of it. These are not the real problem. These are the byproduct problem because of lack of God consciousness. Husband, wife, because everybody want to be the enjoyer, right? So that is the root problem. You want to be the enjoyer, you cannot be the enjoyer because that is not how the world is designed. You cannot be the enjoyer. You cannot be truly happy in this world materially by design. So naturally, there is gap between expectation and fulfillment. And people are angry, upset, they will be deceitful, cheating, greedy. All those will manifest as side effects of lack of having God at the center of their life. Strain, quarrel.
So 12th canto is a continuation of these symptoms, Prabhuji.
12th canto is full description in elaborate words.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very clearly, you'll be fascinated how well those words are written. You can 100% see all those in Kali Yuga.
Yeah.
Please read.
In the conditioned state, the living being is not satisfied even if he actually becomes the lord of all that he surveys, which he never becomes, and therefore he becomes the victim of all kinds of cheating, even with his nearest and most intimate relations. In such an unsatisfactory state of affairs, There is no harmony even between father and sons or between husband and wife. But all these contending difficulties can be mitigated by one process, and that is the devotional service of the Lord. The world of hypocrisy can be checked only by contraction through devotional service to the Lord and nothing else. Maharaj Yudhishthira, having observed the disparities, conjectured the disappearance of the Lord from the earth.
He was just speculating that Lord would have disappeared. Why would there be such sudden change? So what we'll do, we'll just read, because this is all continuous list of symptoms like this. We'll just go with the translation and key points in purport. In course of time, it came to pass that people in general became accustomed to greed, anger, pride, etc. Maharaj Yudhishthira, observing all these omens, spoke to his younger brother. So he immediately observed the change. See, he's very subtly intelligent. You could see, there are all these inauspicious things. Then so he's expressing his concerns. He's going to express this to his brother Bhima, who is by the side. Yeah, it appears from the statement that all the symptoms of degraded society were known to the people of the time, and it was astonishing for them to have experienced them with the advent of the Kali Yuga, or the age of Kvara. So they know very well. So their next stage is Kali Yuga, and those symptoms are now appearing now.
So, Prabhu, how it was Dwapar Yuga was exhibiting those symptoms? It's just because Lord left, or it is because
it is almost
Kali has not entered, right?
Yeah, Kali has not entered, but these are before Kali enters, the symptoms will enter, no? So it's like that. It's gradation, no? Just first the symptoms, and then Kali Purush comes, and then Kali Yuga comes, like that. Yeah,
Okay.
These are just like, before you get a bigger disease, there are initial symptoms like that. It's just a flavor. This is just a flavor.
It's like before sun rises, there is a little bit of light comes.
Exactly, yeah, like that. Some symptoms.
Yes.
Maharaj Yudhishthira said to his younger brother Bhimasen, I sent Arjuna to Dwarka to meet his friends and to learn from the personality of Godhead Kṛṣṇa of his program of work. So he wanted to know, because he is always well-wishing. He always was curious about Lord Krishna's present, pastimes. So he was just inquiring, because it's been few months. But Arjuna had gone there for 7 months. He hadn't returned. So he was really worried. Since he departed, 7 months have passed, yet he has not returned. I do not know factually how things are going there. There are no mobile phones that time. So they are just curious. Is he going to quit his earthly pastimes, as Devarshi Narada indicated? Has the time already arrived? So this is actually, now he was connecting to the points that he heard from Narada Muni in the last chapter, right? So Narada Muni already hinted that the purpose that Lord has appeared for has already been fulfilled, and it is time for Lord to wind up the pastimes. And as soon as Lord disappears from the world, for Pandavas, it is time for you to leave the world. He hinted that already. So now he was just corroborating the points together, as the time has already arrived. So Prabhupada here explains about the purpose of Lord's appearance and disappearance from 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The purpose, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati. Those verses are given here. Yeah, can anyone read?
When the Lord, however, appears in his person as the Lord Sri Krishna, his other plenary portion also joins him by his inconceivable potency called Yogamaya. And thus the Lord Krishna of Vrindavan is different from the Lord Krishna of Mathura or the Lord Krishna of Dwarka. The Virat Roop of the Lord Krishna is also different from him. by his inconceivable potency. The Virat Roop exhibited on the battlefield of Kurukshetra is material conception of his form. Therefore, it should be understood that when the Lord Krishna was apparently killed by the bow and the arrow of the hunter, the Lord had left his so-called material body in the material world.
So,
material body?
Yeah, material body in the material world. So, Lord has this Virat Rupa, which is the material form, which is material in nature. But he had so many expansions which are all spiritual in nature, direct expansions. If you remember in the second chapter, we were studying the Prabhava, Vibhava, Vilas Rupas, right? Shaktaves, Avataras, Manvantara, Avataras, so many Guna Avataras, Leela Avataras, Manvantaras. There are various expansions. And Lord Krishna is the supreme source. He is the supreme Lord. And all these incarnations are servant gods. They exist only to serve. For example, Balaram is his immediate expansion. Vilash form of the Lord. He is almost equivalent to Lord, but he is a servant god. He exists mainly to serve the Lord. He's the main, he's the Guru Tattva, main servitor of the Lord. And then from him, further expansions exist. Even Lord Shiva, he is also, an expansion of the Lord, right? He is also like an avatar of the Lord. However, it is, if you look at the direct expansions of the Lord, they are, all Vishnu Tattvas. This is Shambhu Tattva when it tinged with the mode of ignorance.
Yes.
Okay? So that's a slight variation. He is no less. He is almost equivalent to Lord. Just, but he's a servant god, right? So they sometimes, people ask who is great, Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, Lord Krishna. So all these questions come. Simple, in our mind, we should be very clear. They're one and the same. Lord Krishna is the source, and Lord Shiva is an expansion, equal in power. Because he's an expansion, he has all the strength and everything same. However, he has a purpose, just like Balaram has a purpose. Every incarnation has a purpose to show certain Lord Rama, right? So he set an example on how to lead a perfect human life, right? With a single wife, how to lead, Maryada Purusha, right? So like that. So every incarnation has a purpose. Other than that, they're all sourced and almost equivalent to each other. And for any material existence, the counterpart for Lakshmi and Narayana, or Krishna, Radharani, are Mahesh and Durga, right? Because Lord wouldn't want to be in touch with material energy, so he actually appears as Mahesh. Is transformed energy, transformed like milk converted into curd. In such a form, he appears as Lord Shiva to actually engage in the material creation and destruction.
Prabhuji, then this question comes especially when you are preaching to Shaivites or somebody who believes in Shiva. At least I have lost that battle when I talk to them. They say, okay, so you say that Krishna is supreme person, but Shiva is also the expansion of Krishna, and we are in this material world. And as you mentioned, in the material world, Shiva and Durga, they are
the supreme, because that's why he's called Maheshwara. Mahi means material plane. Mahi means material plane. Maheshwara means he's the supreme Lord of the material plane. And Krishna is Parameshwara, right? He is the supreme. He's the supreme source of everything, material as well as spiritual worlds. So there's not much difference. The same Lord just transformed for a particular purpose, for earthly maintenance and creation and destruction. That's it.
Then they start questioning. They'll say, okay, let me continue worshipping Shiva. So why are you coming and preaching about Krishna? Because anyway, he's expansion of Lord Krishna. And I'm in material world. Obviously, I want to get more material opulence, and I'm getting more spiritual and material opulence by worshipping Shiva. I'm happy. So
then you can tell what does Lord Shiva really wants. If you look at say in the in what, ninth canto, so there is revelation of the heart of Lord Shiva to especially to Prachetas. There are many instances actually very clearly Lord Shiva tells, I'll be more happy when you worship Lord Krishna because he is my worshipable Lord. I can send you those verses specifically. So we need to go by the heart of the pure. I mean, of course, if you worship him, he's very easily pleased and he can fulfill the benedictions. He can give the benedictions, but he wouldn't give. If you want liberation, he himself recommends go to Vishnu or Lord Krishna.
And Shivji meditates on Lord's name.
Yeah, he meditates. He has gopi form. We need to see what they say. There is one. Even there is some Sahasranama also about that, about Lord Shiva speaking to Parvati, about the glories of Lord Krishna, right? So there are many places where clearly Lord Shiva expresses his heart. If one has no kalmash in his heart, right, and he sincerely worships Lord Shiva, even within devotee communities, there are some devotees, even Dallas temple president Chand Prabhu, he's Prabhupada's disciple. He was a staunch Lord Shiva devotee. But he's never materially motivated. He never worshipped Lord Shiva wanting this or wanting that. But he clearly was directed by Lord Shiva to actually take to the shelter of Lord Krishna. He was guided and directed by Lord Shiva personally. He told this story to us when he visited Bangalore a long time ago, 15 years ago. So if you are a sincere devotee of Lord Shiva without material motivation, Lord Shiva tests you and actually connects you to Krishna. So that is a clear indication of the heart of Lord Shiva, right? Yeah, if you want to continue material existence and happy with what Lord Shiva gives, yes, you can continue that. There is no question. But people should be given, informed about both the things so that they know what it each means. So we can tell about the same that way, right?
Yeah, thank you.
So that's the Padma Purana, where Lord Shiva is Mata Parvati.
Yeah, Padma Purana. Yes.
Prabhu, I'm still not clear on the if Mahatattva or not the material nature is untouched by the Lord. So how come then Lord leaves the material body? So what is that significance here, where one says that Lord leaves the material body?
Oh, that Virat Rupa is considered material. Virat Rupa, that the form that that Lord showed to Arjuna, that Virat Rupa, it's basically is a display of his material form, his material energies.
So does it mean that Lord left that form here, or
yeah, he basically, when Lord left the world, he left some material form there. Okay, and Bhagavatam explains why that was left also. It's not like Prabhupada also clarifies why. This is only to delude the foolish people, thinking that hey, he is also like one of us. See, Krishna is also. So just to give a reason to because the whole process is a filtering process. Want to filter out greedy people, lusty people, people godless, faithless. So it's a filtering process, right? So if you are not guided by a guru or shastra, you will be filtered there. You will think, okay, Lord Krishna disappeared means, yeah, some problem here. Maybe Lord is not Lord, or he's also like one of us. Just to give that, filtering, I know. But one who has faith,
Yes.
they will not believe in that because they will go by what Shastras say and what Guru says. The physical
Lord.
eye may say something, may see something, but they will not go by that.
Got it. Yeah, that's what Prabhupada mentions in the last sentence.
Yeah, that the Lord left his body means he left again his planetary portions in the respective dharma, as he left his Virat Rupa in the middle world. Actually, Prabhupada explains in the 11th canto very nicely. 11th, yeah. Oh, yeah. And in multiple places, not just 11th canto. Lord just leaves something so that people can party on it. That's it. Those who have no faith.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. From him only, all our kingly opulence. Yeah, so this is basically Yudhishthira Maharaj expressing his gratitude for what all he got from Krishna. I mean, any devotee should have the same mindset. Let's read this verse. This is a good one. Yashmana sampado rajyam
Yashmana
Yashmana
Sampado
Sampado
dara prana kulam praja
Dara Prana Kulam Praja
asam sapatna vijayo lokascha yadu anagrahat.
Lokastaya Dugraha.
From him only, all our kingly opulences, good wives, lives, progeny, control over our subject, victory over our enemies, and future accommodation in higher planets have become possible. All this is due to his causeless mercy upon us.
Yeah, so they are just expressing their gratitude for everything that everything that we have in our own life is also in a similar way expressed. Correct? We can also express the same because without Lord is the front, middle, and end of everything. Right? So whatever food we eat, whatever home we live in, is all gifts of God. Without Lord, nothing we can really own by our own efforts. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was just expressing his gratitude. Yad anugrahat. So by your mercy alone. Yeah, please read.
Prosperity earned by one's personal endeavor also depends on the mercy of the Lord. Personal labor must be there in addition to the Lord's benediction, but without the Lord's benediction, no one is successful simply by personal labor. The modernized man of Kali Yuga believes in personal endeavor and denies the benediction of the Supreme Lord.
Yeah. So many people deny the hand of Lord in things that they achieve. They think it's called karmavada. Karmavada means by my own effort, everything was achieved. There is no hand of God. If there is Daivavada, which thinks everything is mercy of God and I have no role play in things that I have, right? So both are extremes. The real thing is one has to sincerely endeavor and there should be God's blessing, right? So Bhagavad Gita 13:20 talks about this, right? Upadrishta anumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwara. Upadrishta means overseer. He oversees our act. He knows everything that we do. Anumanta cha means is the permitter. He is the one who actually gives us the permission to achieve anything ultimately. So without his permission, nothing is achieved. So you may do full endeavor, but still you may not get anything. So he is the actual cause. Without permission, nothing happens finally, right? So everything depends on Lord. So whatever you have achieved is because of the permit that was given by Lord. Without that permit, you would not have those things. Whether it is home, land, children, wife, everything, victory, everything. So one should be always grateful for what they have. Yeah. So Prabhupada writes a beautiful purport here. So I just quoted here. Please read.
The ultimate sanction for all success rests in the hands of the Supreme Lord. Maharaj Yudhishthira admits the truth in his personal success and behoves one of to follow in the footsteps of the great kings and devotee of the Lord to make life a full success. If one could achieve the success without the sanction of the Lord, then no medical practitioner would fail to cure the patient. Despite the most advanced treatment of the sufficient patient by the most up-to-date medical practitioner, there is a death, and even in the most hopeless cause, without medical treatment, a patient is cured astonishingly. Therefore, the conclusion is that the God's sanction is the immediate cause for all the happenings, good or bad. Any successful man should feel grateful to the Lord for all he has achieved.
Because for everything, Lord is the immediate cause. Without his sanction, nothing really can be achieved. Every successful man should, or even failure man, should always feel grateful for Lord for what all he has achieved. Yeah, please read this translation.
Just say, O man with a tiger's strength, how many miseries do, due to celestial influences, earthly reactions, and bodily pains, all very dangerous in themselves, are foreboding danger in the near future by deluding them.
Yeah, so he could see all these things, bad omens. Yeah, so this we can skip on. Yeah, so now he's actually seeing symptoms in his own body. Yeah, please read.
The left side of my body, my thigh, arms, and eyes are all curing again and again. I am having heart palpitation due to fear. All this indicates the undesirable happenings.
Yeah, so he's having some. So left side of the male body, any such, any of these coverings will actually indicate bad omens. So he's having all those, inauspicious signs. Please read.
Material existence is full of undesirables. Things we do not want are forced upon us by some superior energy. And we do not see that this is undesirable or under the grip of the three modes of material nature. The fire can be extinguished only by the mercy of the Lord, who sends the clouds to pour water on the forest. Similarly, undesirable happenings in the life cannot be checked by any number of plans. Such miseries can be removed only by the mercy of the Lord, who sends his bona fide representative to enlighten human beings and thus save them from all calamities.
Yeah, the material undesirables are limitless, just like forest fire. Forest fire cannot be stopped by any humanly efforts. Like you cannot have fire extinguisher or fire vans to stop such fires because it's beyond the power, right? So in Bhagavad Gita, right, there is this Daivihi Esha Gunamai Mamamaya Duratteya. So it's very powerful. Material energy, extremely powerful. Mam evaye prapadyante mayam tetam tarantite. So only by Krishna's power and potency one can overcome through the mercy of Guru, right? Through the mercy of Guru, one can overcome the potency of material energy. Otherwise, it's impossible for by our efforts. So all these material miseries will continue to exist, whether you are, whether you're a pauper or the richest person in the world. You can see today also, right? In today's world, even some of the richest people are so miserable right now. Like, look at Mark Zuckerberg, right? The Meta company head. We think he's billionaire, he must be happy, but I don't think he's happy at all. So much competition between these big companies, between Apple and the Meta. So at every level, there is misery. We can clearly see, from these examples, right? At any time, there is threat to the business. Suddenly, there is this new TikTok that simply took all the business from Meta. Right? And then there is this Apple that is taking over some business, some part of the business. So there is no guarantee of continuous, peaceful life in material world. There is always threat. It's like that. It is designed like that. By design, it is meant to give misery, right? However much you don't want to get involved, but still it will be dragging you. That's how material energy works, right? So here, yeah, so that's why it is compared to, right, samsara dhava, nalalida loka, pranaya karunya, ghanaganatyam. So this material world is considered to be like forest fire. Right? Only the shelter of Guru, only the shelter of Kṛṣṇa, and only the shelter of devotees can give us the power to overcome these forces. Otherwise, you never know. Today, maybe, everything will be fine. Tomorrow, you never know how the things will be. So it's always very dangerous. Padam padam, yad vipadam natesham. Right? So every step has, it's like grenades, right? Anywhere, anytime, anything can blast. So one should be always cautious in the material existence. Yeah, please read.
Just see, O Bhim, how the she-jackal cries at the rising sun and vomits fire, and how the dog barks at me fearlessly.
Yeah, these are, jackal and dog, dog barking. These are all bad omens. Yeah, please read.
Oh, Bhimasena, the tiger among men. Now useful animals like cows are passing me on my left side, and lower animals like the asses are circumambulating me. My horses appear to weep upon seeing me.
Yeah. Yeah. Continue.
Prabhu, one question. Why the cow should not pass on the left side?
We don't know, Prabhu. These details, those who know these, the astrologers may know. There might, it seems like it is a bad omen if cows pass a person on the left. So if you are standing from your left side, the cows pass, it seems inauspicious.
Next time, got to be careful.
Yeah, we depend on Kṛṣṇa. We just observe, that's all. We can't really do anything about these things. Please read next one.
Just see, this pigeon is like a messenger of death. The shrieks of owls and their rival crows make my heart tremble. It appears that they want to make a void of the whole universe.
Next. These are all symptoms. Just see how the smoke encircles the sky. It appears that the earth and mountains are throbbing. Just hear the cloudless thunder and see the bolts from the blue. Yeah, he is seeing everything negative. The wind blows violently.
The wind blows violently, blasting dust everywhere and creating darkness. Clouds are raining everywhere with the bloody disasters.
The rays of the sun are declining, and the stars appear to be fighting among themselves. confused living entities appear to be ablaze and weeping.
Yeah, so it's a very negative atmosphere.
Rivers, tributaries, ponds, reservoirs, and the mind are all perturbed. Butter no longer ignites fire. What is this extraordinary time? What is going to happen?
Yeah, so all these bad omens are there. Please, Radha, continue.
The cows do not suck the teats of the cows, nor do the cows give milk. They are standing, crying, tears in their eyes, and the bulls take no pleasure in the pasturing grounds.
So looks like a lot of these symptoms suddenly came into his kingdom, which are not seen before. Everything is upside down. Oh wow! Look at this. Okay, read this.
The deities.
Yeah. The deities seem to
be crying in the temple, lamenting and perspiring. They seem about to leave. All the cities, villages, towns, gardens, mines, and hermitages are now devoid of beauty and bereft of all happiness. I do not know what sort of calamities are now awaiting us.
So he's seeing so many bad calamities.
So deities crying is like only Kṛṣṇa. I mean, which deity they're talking, or all deities?
Yeah, any deities, like there might be so many types of temples, demigod temples, or so the deities in that appear to be crying, seem to be crying, right? So it's not like real. They're not very, we can, when we see the deity, we can feel the,
Yes.
happiness in the face.
Yes, absolutely.
So here he's seeing as if they are actually lamenting, perspiring. They are not at all in good mood. Naturally, there is some bad things coming. Something bad happened recently, something like that, which is basically Lord's disappearance. Yeah. So everybody is unhappy, nature and everything. Yeah, one second. We have to read this one. Manya eter mahot pater.
Manya eter mahot
pater.
Nunam bhagavata padai.
Nunam bhagavata padai.
Ananya purusha shribhir.
Ananya purusha shribhir.
Ena bhur hatasau bhaga.
Ena bhur hatasau bhaga.
Please read.
I think that all these earthly disturbances indicate some greater loss to the good fortune of the world. The world was fortunate to have been marked with the footprints of the lotus feet of the Lord. These signs indicate that this will no longer be.
Bhagavata Padai, the second line, is talking about that. So the world was fortunate to have been marked with the footprints of the lotus feet of the Lord. These signs indicate that this will no longer be, because Lord was personally present on the planet of Earth. So now suddenly when such a event happens, when Lord leaves, suddenly the atmosphere is trying to cope up with the change. Right? So that's why all these symptoms were seen, because it's a significant event, very significant event. Itachintayastasya
Tasya
drishtarishtena chetasa
Drishtarishena chetasa
rajñah pratyagama brahman
Prajñapyagamad Brahman
yadupurya kapidvaja.
Yadupurya Kapidvaja.
Please read.
O Brahmana Shaunaka, while Maharaj Yudhishthira, observing the inauspicious signs on the earth at that time, was thus thinking to himself, Arjuna came back from the city of the Yadus, Dwarka.
So Arjuna just arrived from Dwarka after visiting Kṛṣṇa and other Yadus. So he was, while Yudhishthira was observing all these inauspicious signs, Arjuna had arrived. So he wanted to talk to Arjuna. Sampadayor nipatitam
Nipatitam
ayata purvam aturam
Maturam
adhovadanam abbindum srijantam nayanabjayo.
When he bowed at his feet, the king saw that his dejection was unprecedented. His head was down and tears glided from his lotus eyes.
So even though Arjuna was so despondent, having returned from Dwarka, because he has witnessed the whole thing, he knows about the whole thing that happened. So the culture was there still. You see, when he came down, he just didn't sit down in chair or went on his own way. He bowed down at the feet of his elder brother, dejected and unprecedentedly dejected, but still he was following the etiquette. Right? He was crying profusely. Vilokyo dvigna hridayo vichayam anujam ripa
Chayam Anujam Ripa
vichati sma sukhan madhya samsmaran naraderitam.
Seeing Arjuna fail due to heartfelt anxieties, the king, remembering the indications of the sage Narada, questioned him in the midst of friends.
So Narada questioned him in the seeing Arjuna pale, he questioned in the midst of his friends. So now there will be a bunch of questions by Yudhishthira. Right?
Maharaj Yudhishthira said, "My dear brother, please tell me whether our friends and relatives such as Madhu, Boja, Dashra, Ahra, Satvata, Andaka, and the members of the Yadu family are all passing their days in happiness."
Yeah, he was just inquiring about all these dynasties, right? Madhu, Boja, Dasa, Satvata, Andaka. They're all from Yadu dynasty. Yeah, please.
In my respectable grandfather, is my respectable grandfather Surasena in a happy mood, or my maternal uncle Vasudeva and his younger brothers all doing well?
He was inquiring about Surasena, Vasudeva.
So Prabhu, why there is no inquiry of Kṛṣṇa first and inquiry of the elders first? Is it just they're following the tradition, or?
Yeah, coming in line. Yeah, from elders first. He will. I mean, that is an obvious inquiry. He went for that reason. Yeah.
His 7 wives, headed by Devaki, are all sisters. Are they and their sons and daughter-in-law all happy?
Yeah, let's read this one. This is important. Kachid Rajuko Jivati
Jivati
Asatputrosya Chanuja
Asatputro Jatanuja
Vidika Sasuto Kruro
Vidika Sasuto Kruro
Jayanta Gadasarana
Jayanta Gadasarana
Asate Kushalam Kachit
Ate Kushalam Kachit
Yecha Satrujit Adaya
Yecha Shatrujit Adaya
Kachit Aste Sukham Ramo
Aste Sukham Ramo
Bhagavan Sapratam Prabhu
Bhagavan Sapratam Prabhu.
Yeah, please read.
Our Ugrasena, whose son was the mischievous Kamsa, and his younger brother still living, are Ridika and his son Kritavarma happy? Are Akrura, Jayanta, Gada, Sarana and Shatrujit all happy? How is Balrama, the personality of Godhead and the protector of devotees?
Yeah, so he distinguishedly spoke about Balaramji. So when he mentioned Bhagavan Satvatam Prabhu. Because Lord Balaram is an immediate expansion and he's servitor God, right? And his main purpose is to protect the devotees. So that's what we see in the life of Nityananda Prabhu also. Right? When Jagai Madai, they really throw a rock at him. Still, he was merciful to them. So he is the spiritual potency. He's the one who empowers us to go, who empowers through so many ways to achieve Kṛṣṇa. So his mercy is the most important spiritual life and the spiritual journey of any of us. So he was the protector of the devotees, Balaram. Satvatam Prabhu, protector of the devotees. Let's read this. Prabhupada explains nicely. The whole purport is about Balaramji. So let's focus on this part. Yeah, please read.
Baladeva acts as the spiritual master of all devotees, and by his causeless mercy, the fallen souls are delivered. Sri Baladeva appeared as Sri Nityananda Prabhu during the advent of Lord Chaitanya, and the great Lord Nityananda Prabhu exhibited his causeless mercy by delivering a pair of extremely fallen souls, namely Jagai and Madai. Therefore, it is particularly mentioned herein that Balrama is the protector of the devotees of the Lord. By his divine grace, only one can approach the Supreme Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa, and thus Sri Balrama is the mercy incarnation of the Lord, manifested as the spiritual master, the savior of the pure devotees.
So in the world, he appears, manifests as the spiritual master. So we can read this one. Yeah, please read.
How is Pradhu? Yes, go ahead, Prabhu. How is Pradhumana, the great general of the Vrishni family? Is he happy, and is Aniruddha the plenary expansion of the personality of Godhead faring well?
Aniruddha, son of the Lord. Yeah, please read.
Are all the
chieftain
sons of Lord Kṛṣṇa, such as Susena,
Sharadeshna,
Samba, and sons of Jambavati and Rishabha, along with their sons, all doing well.
Is it inquiring about everybody except Kṛṣṇa, right? Yeah. Please read.
Also, Srutadeva, Uddhava, and others, Nanda, Sunanda, and other leaders of liberated souls who are constant companions companions of the Lord are protected by Lord Balarama and Krishna? Are they all doing well in their respective functions? Do they who are all eternally bound in friendship with us remember our welfare?
So he was inquiring about rest of the family members. Leaders of liberated souls who are constant companions of the Lord. These are eternal associates. That's what it means. Protected by Lord Balaram and Krishna. Are they all doing well in their respective functions? Do they, who are all eternally bound in friendship with us? Eternal friendship means Sakyaras. Remember our welfare. Do they remember us? Of course they do, but I was just explicit in asking about it. Yeah, please read this purport part.
And to the eternal
Servitors of the Lord.
The Lord is pleased to give all protection at all times. The liberated souls never therefore think themselves as free as the Lord or as powerful as the Lord, but they always seek the protection of the Lord in all circumstances. But in the material world and in the spiritual world, this dependence of the liberated souls is constitutional for the liberated souls are like sparks of a fire that are able to exhibit the glow of fire along with the fire and not independently.
Yeah. So, yeah, so we are the liberated souls are always dependent on Lord. They never exhibit their independence from the Lord. So with that, we'll